Good evening, everyone, and you're welcome. You are all welcome back to the Red Ops Data Camp. And in today's session, we shall be looking at the various roles in cybersecurity and their responsibilities. So, in our last class, in our last session, Monday, we talked about we introduced us to cybersecurity and we explained why it matters and who needs cybersecurity. We also touched the pillars of cybersecurity, which are the CIA triad, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And we also said there are more security concepts that support the CIA triad. And we wrapped it up with the with who needs cybersecurity from individuals to large organizations. So let's move to today's session. Let's talk about the various roles in cybersecurity. So these roles are often the entry points into the industry and form the backbone of any security team. So firstly, let's look at what a SOC analyst does. A SOC analysts, what do they do? At first, what is a SOC analyst? SOC itself stands for Security Operations Center. So think of it as the control room of a cybersecurity team. So a SOC analyst works inside this command center, and their job is to monitor, detect, and respond to security threats in real time. So that's the job of a SOC analyst. And let's break their responsibility down one after the other. One of their responsibilities is they monitor logs and alerts. So SOC analysts use tools like CM, which stands for the Security Information and Event Management, event management tool, to keep an eye on log files and alerts coming from firewalls, antivirus, servers, and more. So imagine being the guard watching the cameras. So they also detect suspicious activity. They look for unusual behavior, a user logging in at 3 a.m., someone accessing restricted folders, or a spike, just an unusual spike in network traffic. Those are red flags. They raise the flags, and responsibilities. Their responsibility is to detect those suspicious activity. They also write reports. They do reporting and documentation, whereby they write reports about incidents, what caused them, what was done, and how to prevent future occurrences. And they use various tools. Among the tools, they use Splunk, they use Wireshark. Okay, I didn't write it here. So they use Wireshark for network analysis and also CrowdStrike for endpoint detection. They also use EDR, your CM, another threat intelligence platform. So entry level SOC analysts are usually referred to as the tier one analyst. So basically, they do the initial investigation. They open the tickets. So when they monitor, they open the tickets, they close the first positive, and they begin the initial investigation and mitigation. And a tier two analyst, dive deeper into the investigation, and mitigation strategies. So after the tier one open the ticket, it send it to tier two. So if the tickets can't be investigated by the tier one analyst, they move it to the tier two analyst, and the tier two dive deeper into it and recommend changes. So the tier three analysts are the more advanced analysts here. They handle the forensics and malware analysis, and they also do threat hunting. So that's that on the SOC analyst. Let's move to cybersecurity analyst. A cybersecurity analyst may also work in a SOC, but this role is broader, compared to SOC analyst. What they do majorly is they focus on both detection and prevention. So, a SOC analyst just monitors, respond, and detects threats. But this time around, cybersecurity analysts detects those threats and they prevent them. Think of them as detectives and planners. They are not just responding to attacks anymore, but they are working day by day to stop them from happening in the first place. So that's the work of a cybersecurity analyst. And let's break their responsibilities down. They do risk assessment, they help identify what digital assets are vulnerable, and they also and evaluate, the impact of potential threats. This could involve scanning the system for weaknesses, flaws, vulnerabilities, loopholes, in the system. They also create security policies. They help define how employees should behave. From password rules to software usage to acceptable device. When it comes to acceptable device, the cybersecurity analyst might, or the organization might implement what we call the BYOD policy. Bring your own device. So they ensure that they bring the most acceptable devices. So they also involve in security testing. They perform vulnerability assessments and sometimes even light penetration tests. They try to find those in the system before a malicious attacker does. They also make sure the company follows security standards like the GDPR, the HIPAA, the ISO 27001. So, and they also prepare reports for managers and regulators. So, and they also use tools similar to the SOC analyst. Among them is Nessus. I didn't write it here. So Nessus is used for vulnerability scanning. They also use CM, security information event management tool. They use Splunk. They also use Nmap for network mapping or network scanning. Nessus is different from Nmap. Nessus is used for vulnerability scanning. Nmap is used for network scanning. So they also use tools like Microsoft Defender Security Center. So those are the tools a cybersecurity analyst use for his or her day-to-day security life. Let's move on to the next. Yeah, we have the penetration tester. So as technology continues to evolve, so do threats also, against our digital infrastructure. So penetration testing is also referred to as ethical hacking. So it is a proactive approach to identifying vulnerabilities. They are not defending, they are attacking this time around. So they identify vulnerabilities in systems before malicious attackers can exploit them. And what is penetration testing itself? It is a simulated cyber attack on a system, on an application or a network to evaluate its security. The goal of a penetration test or the goal of a penetration tester is to discover vulnerabilities, assess their impact, and recommend fixes to prevent real world exploitation. And think of penetration testing as a fire drill for cybersecurity. You are intentionally trying to breach defenses to improve them before any real attack occurs. So it helps identify weaknesses in systems that could lead to data breaches or financial loss, even reputational damage. So, and there are key points to remember. Yeah, in pen testing, they perform pen testing with authorization. They follow the pillar of cybersecurity, one of the pillars of cybersecurity, the core concept supporting the pillars of cybersecurity authorization. They perform with authorization from the target systems owner, and they also focus on discovering zero-day vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, and any weaknesses in the system. Zero-day vulnerabilities are the vulnerabilities or loopholes that are not yet discovered by the developers. Just for instance, a web developer built a website. Yeah, he might actually do all the checks. He might not find a flaw, but maybe in just give it a month or a month or two. If the web developer didn't patch the site, it will definitely have a hole, and he might not discover it. But a pen tester will know that, yeah, this is a vulnerability and it's going to leverage on that vulnerability. So that web developer just wasted his time, building that website because he didn't update the. So, and there are several types of penetration tests, and each comes with a different approach depending on what we are testing for and how we conduct the test. One of it is the black box testing. I'm very sorry I didn't add it to the slide. So black box testing, the tester has no prior knowledge of the system. The system owner won't give him any information about the system. Just tell him, take, do this. That's all. So no information about the system. So you'll be the one to start mimicking an external attacker. He's just mimicking in that approach. He mimics an attacker who tries to infiltrate the system without the insider information. So that's black box testing. In white box, the tester in this time around, the tester has full knowledge of the system, including the source code, the network architecture. They tell him all that. And it also this allows the white box testing also allows for thorough and structured test, often used for specific application testing. And last but not least is the gray box testing. This is a hybrid approach where the tester has limited knowledge of the system. They tell him a bit, they leave the rest unnoticed for him. So they didn't give him they give him part of the information he needs to know. So this stimulates a situation where an attacker has insider knowledge, like access to an employee's credentials. And we also have internal and external testing. So those are just subtypes of testing. Mainly it's black box, white box, and gray box. So pen testers also use they also use a variety of tools and techniques to simulate attacks. Is simulate or simulate? They simulate attacks. So some of the popular tools they use is the nmap. Nmap is a network scanner, used for network discovery, and also vulnerability scanning too. So we same thing for Nexus for vulnerability scanning. So Metasploit also is a framework. Yeah, Metasploit is a framework for developing and executing exploits against the target system. So in our final week of this bootcamp, we shall be looking more into these tools, Metasploit, Nmap, and others. We also have Bob Suite. I wrote Bob Suite here instead of Bob Suite. So Bob Suite is a suite of tools, for testing web application security, often used for finding vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, remote code execution, local file inclusion vulnerability on websites, those that's what they use Bob suit for. They also have Wireshark. Wireshark is a network protocol analyzer for capturing and inspecting packets in real time. We also have Hydra, Joint Reaper. So Joint Reaper is a very very powerful password cracking tool. So and the pen testers also use techniques such as the social engineering. Social engineering is the act of manipulating human weaknesses. Is the art of leveraging on human vulnerabilities. They take the individuals into providing sensitive information. They also use a technique called phishing. Phishing is sending fraudulent emails to capture user data or deliver malware, like a fake email containing a link, whereby when you click on the link, it redirects you to a fake login page. Even if you click on the link, it's going to send a reverse interpretation to the attacker. So let's do that. Let's look at the part of that. They also use techniques such as privilege escalation. So privilege escalation is attempting to gain a higher level access in the system once inside. So now let me walk you through the typical steps involved in a penetration test. Number one is the planning and reconnaissance. We also call this footprinting. There are five actually, but there are four on this slide, on this slides. But I think there is actually a phase here that's combined two together. So in planning and reconnaissance, before starting the test, so we gather information about the target. We gather as much as information we could. So this can include domain names, IP addresses, network services, or even publicly available data we can see on Google on the internet. So the next one is scanning. This is the preparation stage, scanning and enumeration. You know, they use tools like Nmap, to scan the network and identify active devices and services running on the target system. Then we move to gaining access. This is the execution stage. Here we attempt to exploit those vulnerabilities and weaknesses, often using tools like Metasploit or manual methods such as brute forcing credentials or SQL injection. Then after gaining access, they maintain the access. This is what we call persistence. Persistence, After breaching the system, we establish a backdoor to maintain access and continue testing further. And last year is the reporting, analysis and reporting. This is the final phase of during a penetration test. So once the testing is complete, we analyze the findings and document the vulnerabilities found. So there are the vulnerabilities found, their risk level, their and recommendations for remediation. So now that we've discussed about the different phases of the penetration test, what penetration test does, what are different approaches, you might be asking, okay, how do we even get started in penetration as a penetration tester? Okay, if you're interested in becoming a penetration tester, here's a roadmap for you. Number one, learn the basics of networking and security. In our third week of this bootcamp, we will cover network and data protection. So learn the basics of networking. Understand basic TCP IP models, understand firewalls, DNS, VPNs, and how networks operate is very, very crucial. And you can consider certifications such like Computer Network Plus or Computer Security Plus to build your foundation more on networking and security. And you should also master key tools. Familiarize yourself with tools like Kali Linux, Bob Suite, Wireshark. We'll be talking more about Kali Linux in our final week of this bootcamp in the fourth week, where I'll be showing you hands-on, on how to download and use your Kali Linux with basic Kali Linux commands, because hands-on practice is very, very key and essential. Number three, you must learn programming language. It's not mandatory, but knowing scripting languages like Python, Bash can be a huge asset for automating tasks. Nowadays developers use AI, to automate script, to write scripts nowadays. But knowing programming language itself is a huge asset for you. Yeah. Number four, you have to get certified. You can't just say you have a skill without showing anything for it. No evidence. You just keep on explaining, no evidence. So that certificate will be the evidence that yes, you actually know what you are doing. You know what your will is. So consider certifications such as OSCP. The OSCP stands for Offensive Security Certified Professional. So though this is not an entry level certification, it's an advanced level certification whereby you'll be given 24 hours. It's actually 48 hours for the exam, so 24 hours to hack live into systems. You have different machines. I think there are about 40 machines. So the more machines you hack, the more points you gain. You know, so after that 24 hours, so all this will be done, will be proctored and monitored. You can't use tools outside what they've given you. Is what they give is what they use. So after that 24 hours, they will give you another 24 hours to document your findings, your vulnerabilities, and detailing the findings and recommendations for remediation. That's for another 24 hours. Then altogether is 48 hours. Then after that, I think they will give you a result in a month or two. You can actually go to Google and search on that better. It has a cost also, I think around $2,000 if I'm not mistaken. So we also have CEH. So compared to OSCP, OSCP is more practical and hands-on approach. But CEH this time around stands for Certified Ethical Hacker Certification. So this certification is a multi based question. You know, is a theoretical question based on a real scenario, but it is theory. So compared to OSCP, I will take OSCP over CEH, because CEH is very, very theoretical, because it doesn't even make you an hacker at all. It doesn't make you a pension tester. Since you just be choosing A, B, C, and D, I can actually read that and pass the exam. Yes, you can do that also. You also have PNPT, the practical network penetration tester. As a beginner, you can start from the PNPT, you can start from EJPT, which stands for the Alien Security Junior Penetration Tester certification. We also have different platforms to actually have these certifications. You can go to TryHackMe. There's a junior penetration tester certification there also. So you should, for practice, and as in penetration testing, practical is key and essential. You should consider websites like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, Over the Wire, Pen Tester Academy, TCM Security. So all these, just go to Google online, search them: Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, Over the Wire, TCM Security, Pen Tester Academy. So just search them online. So in conclusion, to wrap it up, penetration testing is an essential part of modern cybersecurity strategies because it helps organizations identify weaknesses in their defenses, before a malicious attack can exploit them. So if you are passionate about ethical hacking and cyber security, pension testing can be a rewarding and challenging career. So start learning, gain experience, and pursue certifications to make an impact in this field. Because you will have the opportunity to think like a hacker and use your skills to strengthen cybersecurity systems worldwide. So that's that on the penetration tester. So let's move on. The GRC. When we started this session, we've been talking about defending, attacking, encrypting, decrypting, attack, defense. So those are technical rules. Here, in GRC, this is the non-technical side of cybersecurity. So if you feel like I'm not that good, I'm not that good in the technical aspect, this might be a road for you, GRC. Now let's start with GRC itself. What is GRC? It stands for governance, risk, and compliance. Let's take it little by little. What is this G in GRC? GRC stands for governance, so it refers to the policies, the procedures, and the controls that ensure an organization meets its objectives and aligns with its mission. This R here stands for risk management. So it focuses on identifying, assessing, and managing risks that could potentially harm the organization's ability to achieve its objectives. And here we have compliance. The C here stands for compliance. No, it involves adhering to laws, regulations, standards, and internal policies to avoid penalties and legal consequences. So, together, these three components ensure that the organization operates efficiently and ethically, and also legally, while minimizing risks and protecting its reputation. And there are core roles in a GRC team. No, we have the GRC manager, the directors, the chief financial officer, the operation managers, the representatives, the contact managers, the CISO, GRC lead, the compliance analyst. We have the internal auditor. We have the cyber security specialist. So these rules in the GRC team, they work closely together to effectively manage the organization's risk and compliance obligations. So, and together, the team must ensure that risk mitigation strategies are effective, compliance is maintained, and governance policies are adhered to. They also use tools. They also have their own tools for automation. They have the data, the GRC analyst toolkit, Acumen risk. So, in your leisure time, just search randomly about these tools. And let's move on to the incident responder. So incident responders need a range of skills and tools to perform their job effectively. Let's talk about their skills. Number one, you have to be able to quickly analyze data and determine the scope of an incident. And that's analytical thinking. You also have to have the ability, to collect and analyze data from compromised systems in a legally admissible manner. That's forensic ability. And you also have to be able to communicate effectively, with technical teams and management to coordinate response efforts. So among the tools, they use Splunk, they use CM. Splunk is a tool, is a SIM tool, for log management and real-time monitoring. They also use forensic tools like NCASE or FTK, to analyze compromised systems and recover evidence. They also use malware analysis tools like Virus Total to analyze suspicious files. To analyze suspicious files. So those are the rules of an incident response. And let's look at the life cycle of an incident responder. Number one, they have 4 to 6 stages, but here is four stages. Number one is the preparation stage. Before an incident occurs, the incident responder ensures the organization is ready. So this involves having an incident response plan, setting up the tools, and ensuring that the team is trained to respond to various types of incidents. Number two is identification. So the first step during an actual incident is identifying that an event has actually occurred. So this could be a breach, a suspicious activity, or malware detection. The incident responder work closely with monitoring tools, logs, and alerts to determine whether an event is a true security incident or a false alarm. We also have the containment, which is the step three. So once the incident has been identified, the next step is to contain the damage. So it involves stopping the attack from spreading and limiting further harm. For example, the incident responder might isolate affected systems or block malicious IP addresses. Then we move to the eradication, which is part of the step three. So after containment, the responder works to remove the threat from the environment completely. It might involve removing the malware or patching the vulnerabilities or even eliminating unauthorized access. That moves us to the last stage of the incident response life cycle. So in this phase, this time around, the affected systems are restored to normal operations. The incident responder ensures that all traces of the incidents are gone and the systems are securely back online. So after that's often after running tests to confirm that they are safe. So the team conducts a post-incident, so that's the recovery. So the last stage is the recovery stage, the post-incident rather, the post-incident review to analyze what went wrong, what went well, and how the response can be improved for future incidents. So this helps strengthen the organization's overall security posture. So let's move on to I wrote in detail the key differences between a cybersecurity analyst, SOC analyst, and incident responders. So in their focus, cybersecurity analysts focus more on preventative than reactive. So SOC analysts are reactive, they detect threats. Incident responders are also reactive, they investigate and resolve incidents. In their scope, cybersecurity have a broader scope, encompassing all aspects of security. While SOC analysts and incident responders focus more specifically on monitoring and incident response on their tools. Cybersecurity analysts may use vulnerability scanners and penetration testing tools, while SOC analysts use CM and EDR, and incident responders utilize various tools for investigation, recovery, and forensic tools also. So in the field, many people start as SOC analysts, whereby they gain hands-on experience because SOC analysts focus on a specific line. So they focus more on detecting threats. So after they gain experience, they move into a higher role, like the cyber analyst roles, and over time maybe they divert to incident responder. But a cyber analyst have a more broader scope compared to the two I talked about just now. So we have other roles in cybersecurity. We have the cloud security engineers, the threat hunters, the forensic analysts, the cybersecurity engineers. We have the red teamers, the blue teamers. So you can do more research on these roles in cyber security. So the last slide, this will be the end of our session, how to start a career in cyber security. So number one, you have to learn the fundamentals, and that's what we are teaching you here. That's what we are trying to pass on to you. Learn the fundamentals, learn the foundations of cyber security and ethical hacking. So you can use platforms like TryHackMe, Cyber, Hack the Box, Over the Wire, Pentest Hack. Just go online and do a random Google search on this. So you also need to practice labs and CTF, so capture the flag. You will find it on TryHackMe. So just open an account with flag with TryHackMe, log in, you see rooms, you see leaderboards, you see so many there. Just play around with it, play around with it. Get. So you also need to build a portfolio, do projects, write blogs, open a GitHub account. When you develop your own tool, when you write your own scripts, upload it to your GitHub account. People should see it. You should see what you've done. So that's part of growing in this field. You also have to open a LinkedIn account. If you don't have a LinkedIn account today, you are missing out. You have to open a LinkedIn account to network more with professionals in cybersecurity. You actually find a lot of cybersecurity professionals on LinkedIn. So you also have to earn certifications. I've talked about this: the Contact Security Plus, the CH, the Blue Team Level 1, the Cyber Warfare Labs, the PMPT. There are many certifications you can look out to, watch out to as a junior security analyst or a junior pen tester. You also have to join communities, on Discord servers, forums, go for events, cybersecurity events. You actually gain a lot from by doing this. That's actually how to start a career in cybersecurity. You should have a resume also, after gaining one or two experiences on try hacking and out the box and doing little simulations. You can also check out Forage. So Forage provides that simulations environment for you to simulate attacks and defenses also. So you can check that. So all this together build you all together. So and that's it. So I'm saying about the resume. Have a resume, have a CV also, because you'll be applying to jobs also. You'll be applying to jobs, and reach out to potential employers outside. Reach out to companies, tell them this is what you have, this is what you can provide in your resume. So that's all for today, and that's the end of our slide. And thank you very much for being here with us all through. Thank you for believing in Red Ops. So we are meeting on Saturday, and we will be having our weekly quiz on Saturday based on what we did on Monday and today, Thursday, based on the Monday session and the Thursday session. So we'll have been our weekly quiz. So I will drop the link on the WhatsApp group on at 7 on dots on Saturday. So I will open the quiz link from 7 till 5 p.m. in the evening. So after 5 p.m. I will close that link. So I won't be accepting any more response from the quiz. So meet you all. I wish you the best. I note there are prizes for the top performers in the weekly quizzes. So I enjoy you all to participate actively during this course. So in our next class, next week, that's the second week of this boot camp, we'll be looking at the threats, vulnerabilities, and attacks. So we'll talk more about that in our next class. So thank you for today. Meet you on Saturday, 7 o'clock till 5 p.m. So it's for quiz. We are not doing anything, we are not learning anything on Saturday. We've covered everything we want to do for this week today. So you can see that's the end of our slide. So on Saturday, we just have our weekly quiz and grade us. And just we are monitoring that. We monitor that. We are looking out for, we are watching out for the top performers. So meet you on Saturday. Thank you. Bye for now.